Our readings this evening speak about seeing, not just with human vision, but also with spiritual vision, the eyes of God. The first reading describes what God sees in the person David. Now, in the gospel, Jesus gives not only physical sight to a blind man, but also new spiritual vision as well. So let's go back to the first reading now. Samuel does not see very clearly at first. He's looking with human eyes and not the way that God sees. God sees beyond the superficial into the depths of a person. Of all of Jesse's sons, David is seen as the least likely candidate to be king of Israel. He's the youngest of 8 brothers. He is unimportant. He is sent to take care of the sheep while the rest of the brothers gather to speak to the prophet Samuel. Yet God sees beyond what mere mortals can see. Our gospel passage is filled with powerful imageries. A man born blind becomes the center of attention. The apostles question Jesus about the reason for his blindness. The apostles want to blame it on a personal sin of the blind man or sin of his parents. Jesus reassures his disciples that blindness is not a punishment from God. Jesus begins the healing process and giving of sight by making a mud paste from saliva and applying it to the man's eyes. The process takes a while, but then the man is cured. After his healing, he is not the same blind person. He is now a person with sight. His life is changed in many ways. Now he sees, and more will be asked of him because of his new insight. A play on words. You got to give me that one. He had been healed on the Sabbath and is questioned by the religious leaders. He's not exactly sure where Jesus is or even what he looks like. The last time he was with Jesus, he was blind. The man's parents are questioned. They are afraid. They don't want to get involved and lose their place in their community. The man is seen more clearly, not just in a physical sense, but in an intellectual and a spiritual sense as well. He meets Jesus, who reveals his true identity. The man responds with faith and with a desire to deepen his relationship with Jesus. Jesus challenges the religious leaders of the time to admit their blindness to the truth. The imagery of sight and blindness speak to the deeper reality of spiritual sight, faith, or spiritual blindness, faithlessness. So my question is, with whom do we identify? The apostles, who want simple answers to blame someone for the wrongs of the world. Other people who cannot see and wait for others to take care of them. The man, after Jesus smeared the mud paste on his eyes. We sense something, but I'm not sure what it all means. How about the neighbors who react with disbelief? We cannot and we will not believe that God can act mysteriously and miraculously in other people's lives. The parents who don't want to risk losing our position by changing our understanding of how God works. Or can we be more like the blind man at the end of this story? We have begun to see more clearly. And then there is the possibility that at times we may be like the religious leaders. We think we have the whole God thing down. We want to tell God what God should be doing. We have put God into our little box. We think we can control how God acts by our actions and our words. We think we see the whole picture clearly, but we are the most blind of all, because we have chosen only to see God the way we want to see God, and therefore we don't see God at all. We need to continue to petition the Lord Jesus to open our eyes to faith so that we can see with divine vision. When we begin to see what God sees, we will be amazed at what we had not been able to see before.